Well, my little clock says I'm live for 14 seconds, but I've not popped up over here yet. Good morning, Ian. How are you today, sir? Morning, Chuck. Hope you're having a good Saturday so far. Just checking on Marcus. My goodness, good morning, Miss Brenda Pruitt. And I got to turn that off. There him is. There he is.
I've been here like 8 times.
You have?
Yeah,
I hadn't seen you.
I could tell.
Was I in here?
Yeah, you were sitting there doing what you're looking back and forth at something.
Huh.
Good morning, everybody.
I thought I heard you. I get this noise, boop, pop noise, but I didn't see you. I looked. Weird. Ian says it's a mark. It's a mark.
Technology.
I like that now. That is a bright yellow cup.
I got those in a Cabela set, a camp, like a camp kitchen, it was an aluminum camp kitchen, and it had yellow plates and yellow bowls and these yellow cups. And I still have all of it except the bowls. I don't know what I did with those. I must have used them to put leather dye in or something at some point.
No doubt. No, I would never do something like that.
It's so warm out here right now. I ain't bragging. I almost had to get my straw hat back out. So,
how warm is it?
But I was afraid. Well, we got possums and gravy, and what you said that. What's for dinner, Grandpa?
Grandpa.
We've got. It's been in every day's been getting into the upper 40s, and it's supposed to continue at least through next weekend. We've had 2 days where it was over 50. So I don't know. We're probably going to pay really bad. I'm probably going to call you one day and say it's 50 below zero. And
what kind of winds have you had in the last week or so? Anything really bad?
No, above average on the steady, but nothing too outlandish, I guess.
I was watching.
Well, I woke up this morning, black old dark, and put the put a few of the dogs outside, let them go do their business, and two of them took off. And so I've been hunting dogs all morning. But on a positive note, that let me get to see a bobcat. So
Oh, cool.
yeah,
On your property.
walked across the road on the place here. No, he was clear down on east end of Opal, but he walked across the road just like he owned the place, which he kind of does. So,
Good size or normal or
huh?
decent, big, any
Yeah,
size to him or
it
just
was a
normal?
big cat,
Cool.
big old adult, probably a big old adult male. He just sauntered across the road, and I'm like, dude, you're not gonna last if you keep doing that.
Make sure he looks both ways at least.
All the heavy traffic we
Morning,
had.
Tina.
Good
It's
morning,
been.
Miss Tina and Chuck
Oh, I was watching.
and Ian and the gang's getting here.
Yeah,
You was
I was
watching.
watching.
You was watching the NFR. That you better have been.
Oh, I've been watching that every night. I was up till 3 o'clock this morning watching it. No, I was watching Flint's show. That he's doing now
Well,
on
you
YouTube.
was up till 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, well, this was no, I did not last night. A couple of days ago, I was watching his little outside the shoot or whatever thing he's doing on YouTube. It's like 15-minute show, and he
Yeah.
had Chancey Williams on there,
Yeah.
and he was talking about the weather, and Chancey said something to the effect of in Montana where
No,
is he
he's
from
from
Montana?
Wyoming. He's from Wyoming.
Okay. Oh no, yeah, Flint from Montana. One of them said they had 100-mile-an-hour gusts the other day.
Yeah, but they both live east of the divide.
And they live in the flat country, I know. On the
Well,
other
it's not flat country. It's not mountain country, but it's not flat. I
well,
guess
yeah,
you could look out there and say that's pretty flat, but it's deceptive.
right, yeah,
But
but I mean, it's not the mountains. I mean, it's on the other side
yeah,
of the mountains.
but yeah, Chancey went to school with Sammy, and
Oh, did he?
oh yeah, he used to they'd be having like an off-campus house party or something, and Chancey and his boys would show up and have a good time.
Tina had a question for you. She wants to know what you consider heavy traffic.
Well, when we drive, if I drive this, before daylight on a Saturday, and I see a car, that's heavy traffic.
That's heavy traffic.
So somebody was up with the chickens with me. Probably had to go to work.
Probably. Man, that'd be a good way to start your Saturday, though, seeing a bobcat, even if you were chasing dogs.
Yeah, I'm just it was a long, rough night, and I slept good for a couple hours, and then was up the rest of the night.
Morning, John. Welcome in.
Good morning, the surf bum.
Well, I watched the replay of the rodeo until I'm sure it was 3 o'clock, and I didn't watch the buckle ceremony yet. I'll watch it later. They won't be on tonight, so last night's was the last one.
Yeah, but if you get the Cowboy Channel, they've got all that. They're archiving all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch anything I missed. I'm sure, but I've seen all of them, I think, except one. so far. But it was
Well, it's been quite the show, man. It's
it
been
has
quite.
it's been
It's been a good one.
yeah, there's been some close races and events, and it's coming down to the wire on a couple of them still. I mean,
Yeah,
it's probably a couple of them are pretty much wrapped up. I mean,
the right. It was fun to watch the rights like 1, 2, 3 at last night,
yeah, they wrapped up the top three spots, that's for sure.
and then the in saddle bronc riding, and then was it Otero, the gal that that ran
And she won. She's
at
around a 20.
13.20,
Yeah,
nine one hundredths off the arena record. So, who she was riding against, by the way, that
who
was
she was riding against.
yeah.
Haley didn't have as many good. She
She's
didn't have
very
any really low runs this year like that. I mean, that was the fastest thing all week. But I don't think the dirt's been very good this year. And I hate to be a complainer about the dirt, but there's been a lot of horses slip,
well,
and you,
either fell completely or slipped.
yeah, and it. I know at least twice I could look to me like I could see plywood, and I know they lay plywood.
That's what I thought. I was like, what are
Well,
they doing?
they lay plywood down over the floor of that those indoor arenas before they put the dirt down, because I've seen it done, and I that tells me it's a little thin there.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's right at barrel number
yeah,
2.
right where they don't need it to be, and I could be wrong, but it looked like I know two occasions it looked like plywood to me showing, and they can't stand up on that. I mean, they just not trying to turn like they do.
Yeah,
There's been some there there's been some good races though. The first of the week there was a lot of barrels got knocked over, but
I have enjoyed the steer wrestling more than I have for years. It's just been I hate to see Big Will Loomis
yeah, me
be out
too.
of the top spot, but
It's kind of neat though to see one of the smallest guys in the field out there beating everybody.
180 pounds.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, he's proven to them that there's a lot of technique involved.
He's just so accurate and quick.
Yeah,
And
he is.
yeah, it's fun. There's Mr. Thibodeau. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jason. It's been kind of fun to see. You know, it's funny. Some people that I watch and root for some and usually do pretty good out there for those 10 days this year, like Yates. I can't think of his first name. To steer or calf roper. Yeah, you got Shad. What?
Chad Mayfield is.
He came out fired up from the get go, and he usually doesn't do very well at the NFR. He has, I mean, I guess he has, but he's had a lot of bad ones too. And it's kind of fun to see Big John Dowse win again.
That's who I hope wins the whole
Yeah,
deal.
I think that'd be really cool if he did.
I've been watching that man. That's what I call him too. Big John Doubt.
Big what?
Big John Doubt.
Yeah, Big John Doubt. Man, I tell you what, for a big guy, he's quick once his feet hits the ground.
He's like a flipping long tail weasel move, and it's like, how's a man that big run that fast and then tie that quick? Anyway.
His hands are just
The whole 2 reps and a hooey thing has always been a mystery to me anyway.
Yeah, it's been a good week. There were more close races this year than a lot of times some of them got it wrapped up. I mean, when he was not last year because he wasn't running. But Stetson, for a couple of years there, Stetson had things pretty much wrapped up before he ever got to town. But this year it's been close on a lot of those events.
It's kind of been fun watching old Rocker Steiner and the Barebacks act like a human being out there on the. Even when he got bucked off once, he seems like he's matured a little bit. So
I think he is a little bit. I wonder what he'll do if he wins, and he's going to. I wonder if he'll hang around very long. I don't know. He's done so many things, and I think he's been pretty good at them. But then he's moved on to something else. I just wonder if he'll hang around for a couple of years, or if he'll win and then find something else he wants to do.
And we're sorry to be boring all you guys. But it's the big sports week for us.
It's like the Super Bowl week here.
It's like 10 days of Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, 10 in a row. Johnson, did you see the other day a great 30-minute documentary on Billy Clapper? Oh, the Spur Maker.
Oh, I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I know I didn't, John. I'll have to look for that. Was that on the internet, YouTube, or was that on TV Discovery? I'll have to look for that. Used to watch that every year, but been a couple of decades since I paid. Well, you missed it, Ian, because now I don't know about out west. Maybe it was on out west before, but the last 10 to 15 years, I've been able to watch it more than ever. Because back here, we were lucky if we got to see one or two events. Or one or two nights.
You might get to see the first one and the last one.
Yeah, now I can watch 24/7 just about. In fact, the Cowboy Channel on the streaming version of
that guy, he's gone now.
Yeah, he is. I know.
The guy that started, the guy that looked most like a human Grinch that I've ever seen.
The Grinch.
I'm not kidding. He looked like that's what he looked like. But
I know.
He did.
I don't disagree.
He did good.
I'm gonna write that name down so I don't forget it.
What, the Grinch?
No, Billy Clapper.
You need one more thing to watch.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, my wife might have popped up there. She was telling somebody the other day.
Learn stuff. It's educational. It's like watching Conjunction Junction or something.
Yeah.
On steroids.
She was talking to somebody or telling them that instead of a football widow, she's a NFR widow once a year for a week, 2 weeks almost. Oh well. I've been watching. The reason I've been up so late is I've been staying up to watch TV with her, and then when she goes to bed, I turn it on. That way, she's not having to watch it, but I'm missing a lot of sleep. But that's how it goes sometimes. Hell, I don't sleep half the time anyway.
I've been doing lots of rehab and my exercising and forking a lot of hay. And
you get to count that as rehab?
I do.
Yeah. Is that
I got to climb up on them great big square bales, and then I've got to, fill some kind of a device full of hay several times, and the horses are fat and slick, and if it turns winter, if it ever turns winter out here, they're gonna go into the winter in the best shape of their lives.
Oh, that's good, I guess.
Yeah,
How's your shoulder, Luke?
our old man horse is, golly, he's filled out and looks great. How's
Which
my
one
shoulder?
is?
That Sam's old buckskin
Oh,
walking horse. We had kind of I thought I was going to lose him last winter,
mm-hmm.
and had to pour the senior feed to him hard all winter long, and I put him in a stall so everybody didn't steal his feed. And this year he's slick and looks great. And
How old is that horse?
I don't know. He's like that. I don't know if you ever remember watching the movie. I think it was called Far and Away. It had Tom, what's his bucket, Top Gun.
Oh, yeah, I remember that movie.
Where they and Nicole Kidman, where they immigrated from Ireland. She was a rich person, he wasn't.
They were Sooners, weren't they?
And they got in on that Oklahoma land race.
Yeah.
And Cruz scraped up enough money to buy a horse to get in on the race. And he was standing at the hitch rail, and there was this ancient looking human being standing there smoking a pipe. And that horse just fell over dead.
No. I didn't remember that part.
And the old man pulled his pipe stem out and said, "That there was the oldest horse I've ever seen in my life."
Oh.
Anyway, the wanderings of the mind. Did you say how's his shoulder?
Yeah, I did.
It's there. It's reminding me every second.
Yeah. Well, it keeps you thinking. My leg's been reminding me every day. Like
my son says, if you're gonna be stupid, you better be tough.
Well, that's a good point, because if you're gonna be stupid, you better be tough, because you're gonna need to be.
I watched him shoot a cow elk in this place we call the Devil's Butt Crack. Basically, it's a steep canyon up there in the chapel, and it's a nasty hole, but it's always full of elk. And we have a deal in camp that if you shoot an elk down in there, if you're dumb enough to go down in there and kill an elk at the bottom, you got to pack it all out yourself. You don't get any help.
Oh.
And sure enough, like opening day one year, we had a camp up on top, the wall tent camp up on top, and he dropped down in there, and I heard a rifle shot, and I'm like, oh, darn it. And here he come climbing out of there with like a 9-quarter on his back, grinning like a possum.
How many trips do you have to make out there to get it all out? 4 or 5?
Yeah, maybe 4. I've seen him carry him out in 3, and he's not that, he's a little guy, but.
Ian says that sounds like a good place to avoid.
It's a wonderful piece of country. I've seen some amazing things in it, but I was always horseback when I was down in there.
That makes it a little easier.
Kind of tricksy riding, but and the creek bottom it's a great big creek, about the size of, what was that creek behind your house?
Stewart's Creek.
Stewart's Creek. It's about that size, width-wise, and it wanders back, oxbows back and forth across the whole bottom, and it's full of willows and beaver ponds. Like for miles, it's just beaver ponds. And so it's kind of tricky to ride. You're always on a side slope somewhere. But
He's
anyway.
mule. Boys, you guys have tested the brains versus brawn quotient in the last year. Yeah, we both have, haven't we? That's the truth. I tried to see if I could jump a lawnmower, and Mark decided to test out that top step on the ladder theory.
I thought they've been lying to me all these years.
But guess what? I'd be worried about. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. I'd be worried about going back for the second trip. Maybe a bear found the meat. Well, that is possible.
Well, and now since that trip, that's probably been 15 years ago. Since that trip, we've had big bears move into that country. And so, yeah, you could like legitimately run into an old grizz, and which if he comes in and claims it, you just say, "Have a good day, sir," and turn around and go the other way.
Yeah. Hope you like it. I hope you like it.
Because you're not going to reclaim it. That's
you guys have any blacks in that area? Black bears? I mean, you got a few grizz now, but do you have black bears in there?
We have tons of black bears in there.
I thought you ought to.
We had 1 year where our neighbors camp up the mountain a little bit. Everybody kind of had their spot, kind of like deer camp in Michigan or Minnesota or something. But we had put our camp in, and our neighbor up the hill, they'd been in and out of there quite a little bit hunting deer and things, and they always kept kind of a dirty camp. And a big old black bear found it, and had his way with their wall tent and a bunch of food, and just destroyed their camp. And Ron and I rode into our camp one day, and there was a tear on the corner of the wall tent. And Ron started cussing. He's like, "That black bear's down here now." And I'm like, only if that black bear builds like round stick nests up in this fir tree right next to the tent, because a red squirrel would come down and shoot a big old hole and took the cloth and used it in its nest.
Well, waste not, want not.
You could see it the canvas hanging out of there. And then 3 or 4 days later, Ron was calling from his sleeping bag. He wasn't even up yet. And there was a cow elk that was coming through camp, and he was like, calling to her. And he shot that elk from that tent.
Just shot it from the sleeping bag.
And I'm like, dude, you don't have on any orange.
Good point.
He had on some Under Armour long johns, and that was it. Pretty much it. Oh my.
Ian or Tina says you guys just name it that to keep people away. Back talking about butt crack again.
Well, our and that's not what we call it. That's
no, I know. I'm sure
it's not its official name, but it's we had a young game warden come in. He's like, "Oh, that's not that bad down in there. You go up to like the Sorcas or wherever where there's big mountains, And I'm like, yeah, you drop down in there and shoot you an elk and see." And Chris bailed off down in there and boom, and we're like, "You're on your own, fella."
He found out you guys were serious about that.
I shot mine that morning up on basically just outside of camp, and it died right there on the top of the ridge, and it was downhill pack all the way on a horse.
Now that's thinking through it there. That's the way to pick your spot.
Anyway.
Oh me. Let me see here if I got anything. I didn't put anything special about this day in today's show. I just
well, it's round 10 of the NFR.
well, yeah, it's been kind of exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna step away and grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
All right, I'm gonna turn this on and. Except I forgot to do this. Excuse me. Okay. I can mostly go by that. I hear his microwave beeping. He must be reheating this morning.
Da-ding.
So I changed the teepee a little bit for the Christmas season, and I noticed something after I did that. I didn't notice it till this morning, actually.
There ain't no smoke flaps.
Huh?
There ain't any smoke flaps.
Oh, there's not, are there? I didn't notice that till just now. I was look up in the sky to the left of the lodge poles.
There's 2 moons.
There's 2 moons. And I didn't notice that till this morning. And I thought, well, I'm just going to leave it up there. And 2 moons.
Yeah, close that flap and start a fire.
Yeah. Well, you can see by looking in, there ain't no fire.
You'd be sticking your head out from under the liner.
That's probably one of them teepees where there's a stovepipe coming out the side somewhere and we can't see it. Yeah, that one's not going to draw.
What bothers me the most about that painting? It is a painting.
Yeah, I guess
it's the fact that it's in a Christmas tree farm.
Well, that's why I put it on there, though. I did that. I mean, I found it and picked it on purpose just because of that. But they look like they're all still planting trees.
Ian said tent would make a good nest.
Yeah, especially if it was a good old canvas tent, not I don't know about nylon.
It was an old canvas wall tent. He just chewed one corner right out of it, and about maybe a foot long tear.
See, what I can just imagine is a squirrel getting up on the top of it, chewing a hole, cutting him out a strip, and then just bailing off with it, and his mouth just ripping out a whole strip all the way down.
I sewed it up. I hand sewed it back together when we pulled camp, and we still use it as our cook tent, and it's it's still going.
So I got a few new things here on this screen. Besides the teepee in the Christmas tree yard, was I put these new and these are, I guess these are arrow tips. They could be atlatl darts, but
they look like arrow.
Yeah, I think they're arrows. But they've been able. I was reading up some more on this whole thing about aging the, Native Americans, or the first migrants to come to this part of the world, and the first immigration, whatever, and the First Nations people. But anyway, they were saying that as radio carbon dating gets better, they can go in here and get smaller pieces of this and test it. And what they were testing isn't the copper; it's the wood and the sinew cordage. They referred to it as cordage, but that's sinew. Cordage to me is like rope and string and that sort of thing. Sinews. Excuse me.
Wow.
That's my daughter.
Wow.
She had a show last night, and I was just asking her how she did. They did a Krampus dark market thing with her, kind of place where other people besides her does that kind of art and sells it and whatnot. And she was there, and it was a Krampus night, and Krampus was supposed to be there. If you know who Krampus is, he's like evil Santa Claus. At least that's what I always thought. Thanks, Ian. I knew you'd appreciate that, buddy. Anyway, they've been able to test the cordage, as they say, and the wood in these arrows, and some other almost what you'd call scrapings or the sweepings from some of these sites as the technology gets better. And they've dated these to be at least 9,500 years old. So they're getting closer and closer to that 10,000 year plus mark. And
those particular points right there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be these points.
Then they're atlatl darts. They're not arrows.
Yeah, probably are, but they don't. It's hard to tell in that picture. And they called them arrowheads in the article, but I was thinking, I'm not so sure about that. But
yeah, I mean, the bow's only a couple thousand years old in the Americas.
Yeah, that's what they thought about this stuff too. So I'm sure you're right, though.
I'm willing to accept whatever, but it's right now.
Yeah, but they hadn't found. Yeah, I got you.
The evidence is that they got it. They got the technology fairly late. Which, if you're really good with an atlatl, well, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, might even be easier to make an atlatl to make a throwing stick than an atlatl. And spears and darts than it is to make arrows and bows, probably. Just not as handy. Anyway, they're getting, they keep pushing that threshold back. When did they get here, and what were they doing? And by the time they were doing this, they'd been here a while already, because this was in Michigan. These particular points were found either in southern Manitoba. I think I've got it in my notes slides here in a minute. It was either southern Manitoba or Minnesota. Or Wisconsin. I got some more stuff from that museum in Milwaukee. They found a lot of stuff there, and what they're finding, Mark, and this reminds me of you and me and lots of people we knew like us, who picked up stuff, and what they're finding is all over Minnesota, parts of Michigan, Wisconsin, that people have got boxes like down in their basement, stuff they picked up when they were kids.
Oh, I read that are full of copper points and
Yeah, that they didn't even know existed until they started looking for them, which I thought was really interesting. And I don't doubt that not one bit, because I've known I knew people when I was growing up that had cigar boxes just full of arrowheads they picked up off the creek banks or off the lower 40 when they plowed, and it was common for us to find stuff like that here. So I can only imagine that same thing up there, only different stuff, which I thought was really cool that they discovered that or realized it. Anyway, on with the show. There's all the usual stuff. You guys know the routine. Hit that button, check that mark, subscribe to that channel, leave a comment, shoot a rabbit.
8 words more.
8 words or more. And this is just a little bit of review of kind of where we left off last week. We were talking about these areas, and well, this is even further north, but Minnesota, parts of the Dakotas, Michigan, Wisconsin, and I think Manitoba, and
clear up to Mike and Diana's house.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's got a bit in there, and all that area was, where they found these deposits of copper and have found this extensive use of it. And of course, then we found it all over the country, but this was the center of it. And again, this was one from last week, and kind of a better idea that you can see where the really hot spot was. In the UP, and I guess that's mostly Wisconsin and part of Minnesota. But, all that stuff was in there. And years later, when the Europeans came along and made those discoveries, that copper out of those areas up there served the world for a long time as one of the major sources of copper in the world, because it was there was a lot of it, and it was pure. Which is, I have another interesting factoid here in a minute about that. We were talking about it a little bit before about how when they learned how to smelt copper and who did it first and where it came from. So I got a little bit more about that. And this was that big old nugget or chunk of it. And I think I had these in there before too, but these are just some more tools and things that they have picked up over time. And again, the most critical thing, the one thing that stuck with, and everything I've read, and we talked about this too a little bit last week, was that the thing that really stuck, even after they returned to using stone instead of copper for points and stuff. And they did do that, and there's a reason why. They think there's a reason why. But needles and awls, they kept using the copper ones. They preferred that. They preferred those over bone or antler awls or stone awls because they lasted longer and probably were easier to make than sitting there napping out a stone awl that was that size. But I've got some more pictures of those too, and they found those on down through the generations past when all this other stuff started fading out of the strata of the landscape.
Take Tina's comment down. It's covering up pictures.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Tina.
Thanks, Tina. Hey, Adventures by Dave. Welcome. Or by D. But I know you're Dave. I think you're Dave. Hi, Dave. Welcome to the No Smoke Flap TP. And you think we're kidding, but that's a big deal. You'd be choking in that TP, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you wouldn't be. I can remember being at Dick's Creek deer hunting that one year when it was so cold, and we got a weird wind that came through and was blowing the smoke right back down the smoke through the smoke flaps, and we had to close her up. And I think that's when Dad switched over to where we put that old sheep herder stove in.
Yeah, we used that a couple of times that I remember. So this is a set of points, and you may see these again, or not points, but a set of tools. And these were actually from an auction site. And they talk about, provenance and where they came from and that sort of thing. But these were in an auction. Hang on a minute. By a company called Artemis Fine Arts back in 2020. Let's see here. This is how they described it. Native American, Western Great Lakes region, Wisconsin, Southern Canada, old copper complex culture, late archaic period, circa, I guess, 3000 BCE, a fantastic selection of 5 rare copper items from one of the earliest Native American tribes in North America. I guess you could say that. I'm not sure they were that developed in tribes at that point.
Look how they built that ferrule there on the bottom, that second.
This one?
I can't see which one.
This one right here?
That one right there, yeah. I wonder if those were like thrusting spears or.
I'd say, well, that would be my guess. Let me see how, I think they say how they've got that one listed. The first one they talk about the needle. This is like that long, slender one is a needle, or at least described as one in this auction. The second is a knife with a slender blade and sharpened edges. That's the one beside the needle, which is, you can't really tell it's sharpened at this point from these photos because of the corrosion that's on them. Third is a hefty trapezoidal, and I'm going to say this 2 ways, Celt or Celt, and I'm not sure. If you go look that word up, it's not very clear on what. I think I've always heard stone.
The middle one?
Huh?
The middle one?
No, the one they skipped over here. That's one on the far left.
Oh, yeah, that's a Celt.
Yeah, and
yeah, it's not Celt.
Right, but if you look up that word, it says it's pronounced both ways. So I know where you're coming from, and that's why I went and looked it up. I thought it was Celt too, and I think it is Celt. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just it's a funny word. Anyway, they're talking about how it's got a thick body, which is part of the handle, and a sharpened crescent shaped edge. That would have been a hand tool. It probably never had a handle on it, or it could have, but it doesn't. It's not forged like a typical hammer would have been as we might think of it today.
Yeah, a lot of those one hafted with like a split stick and some kind of cordage or sinew or rawhide. And they used them basically like a hatchet.
The fourth is a petaloid spear tip with flanged hafting fins on one side of the tang, which is the one I believe you're talking about, Mark. That one.
The one right by the Celt.
Yeah, by the Celt. And then the last one, which is the largest or longest item, is what they're, again, calling a tapered spearhead, which I guess a spearhead or a lance point. I guess you'd call it a spear, with a sharpened tip and a solid tang. They talk about the makeshift primitive smelting techniques. These weren't smelted though. These were beaten out by hand. The scholars posit that copper blades like these were shaped through the cold forming method. They weren't smelted and cast. Hang on a minute, I dropped something.
Yeah, they just pounded it out.
Because up there, I mean, they didn't need to smelt it, and they didn't know how to blend it yet to make alloys out of it, which I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. You okay?
Me?
Yeah, it sounds like you fell down. I can't see you. Oh, that wasn't you.
What, me? I think I'm still here.
Anyway, this stuff all sold in an auction, and they go on to explain the provenance of that and why how that was illegal. Because there are some things like this are not legal to sell, and it depends on where you're from and where you pick them up and all kinds of things like that. But
excuse me.
And now these images, a couple of them may look familiar, but most of these are new. This is all part of the displays that are on at the Milwaukee Public Museum. And the first set on the left is, I've got them labeled as they had them labeled in the museum literature. They're chisels and celts, and then axes and wedges, which a couple of those could almost be described as a celt to me. And here's some socketed spuds and adzes, which, you think about them using an adze. If you don't know what an adze is, the adze that Europeans brought over were, that's what they used to square off logs and things, like building a log home. You more or less straddle the log and you start chopping, and it's got almost like a big hoe face on it, and it chips away you cut away at the top till you get it squared off. And that's how they built log homes at one time. So this is what they think these were. And again, here's a whole row of needles and awls that they found. As you can see, quite a few shapes and sizes and lengths. I don't know what those let's see, I think that's 30 some centimeters long, or millimeters. Yeah, centimeters long, actually. Does that sound right? 30. That'd be about 15 inches. No, that may be too big. I don't know. It might be 15 inches. I was looking at that. Trying to read that ruler is kind of hard, but.
.54 centimeters per inch. So.
Do what?
2.54 centimeters per inch.
Right. That's why I was trying to figure out if that was in centimeters, or I see different numbers on there. I'm thinking it might be a combination ruler. Anyway, have you ever seen a needle like this, or a bone needle or a stone needle that had a hole for the sinew to go through like we do today? The kind of needles, did they do that, or did they wrap it around the needle and pull it through that way?
I don't know. I would call every one of those an awl. They were using eyed needles. Like Clovis people were making eyed needles out of mammoth ivory.
So they probably did
that had an eye in it, so you could put your thread through it and sew.
Right. Well, that's okay. Well, they probably would have done that with copper too, then.
But I haven't seen one yet. They're all these like double beveled. They look like, if you take a modern awl and pull the
handle off.
Pull the handle off of it. That's kind of how they're shaped. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't tell. Some couple of these bigger ones, like this, really, like that really thick one in the kind of in the middle there. It almost looks like if you turned it over, it might have a hole in it down here because it almost looks like it's flattened at that base, but you can't really see it. So anyway, that's how whoever found them. That's how the museum has described them. But I'm like you; they look more like owls to me too. And they have found a bunch of these kind of things.
Good morning, Michelle.
Fish hooks. Hey, good morning, Michelle. Good to see you. The
fish hook and
fish hooks
and fish spears, harpoons.
And harpoons. Yeah, how about that? I mean, I've never seen those. And again, this is the kind of stuff they've dug these up, but they've also, this is some of the stuff they found in, basements and garages and old cigar boxes and things that people had picked up on their farm or whatever over the years and just dropped in a box and thought it was really cool, but never thought to show it to anybody. Possibly. Or maybe nobody showed any interest in it. Also, if you look at that, look at those harpoon points. I see three different ways or at least two different ways they've attached those. That upper one looks like you were saying about an awl. The back end is sharpened and probably driven into the end of a spear tip or whatever they were using. That second one looks like it was wrapped around the haft of the shafted, or
it's got a ferrule.
Yeah, it's got a ferrule. Now that bottom one, I'm not sure unless it was driven into something also, but it doesn't. I don't see a ferrule on it.
I've seen harpoon heads just exactly like that, made out of antler and ivory and other items that are that same shape. And I always wondered how they were built to, you harpoon the critter and whatever it may be, and whether it was a sea mammal or a big fish or whatever, and then that pulled away from the shaft.
True.
But there was a line attached to it that you used to try to control the animal, and anyway,
a hand line to pull it in
up to and including the size of whales.
Now that ruler is metric, and I can tell that that's centimeters. So that's 21. What's that? Not quite 2.5. I mean, that's 10 inch. No, not 10 inches. 7 or 8 inches long, that bottom one, maybe. And then we've got these are just different kinds of knives. And that one on the bottom, both bottom ones actually look like they're almost big enough to be a small sword. Which kind of reminds me a little bit of the, over on this side, what was the sword that's one of the short swords that the Vikings used? Oh shoot! It was shaped a little different than. Well, they had a slightly different tip shape though.
You're trying to pull in that Kensington stone again.
No, actually, I was thinking about the.
Which is right there.
Which is right there. What I was thinking about was I guess on the Forged in Fire, I've seen them made several times. I can't think what they're called. It's got a short name, but the Vikings used them, and they were kind of, I don't know, I guess they were the ones that developed that.
Sacks.
Sacks, yes, a sacks. Thank you. But
look at that second one down in that same photograph.
On which side, right or left?
Right side.
This one?
Yeah.
That looks like something I'd make.
That's an interesting shape that we still use today.
Yeah. And it's got a full length tang on it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
and basically a pommel.
yeah, basically a pommel.
To make it ergonomically nice for the hand.
Yeah. It wouldn't slide right
I'm
off.
sure that was that had to been, they had to had a slabs on that for handle.
Oh yeah,
You
surely.
could, like using just a piece of copper, trying to hang on to that and do anything with it would be near impossible.
Yeah, it would. The one right below that looks like it has a ferrule on it.
Yeah.
It looks folded around like it, and this bottom one too, I think. So different ways to, different technologies to, as they were learning how to use and make this stuff. And they didn't give ages on any of these, so I'm not sure at what time in the copper complex that they think these are from, but. And then we got what they listed as rat tail points, which I thought were kind of interesting. This reminds me of the shape of these blades or points. It reminds me of something else I've seen on the Forest and Fire or read about, a leaf-shaped blade. That, what the heck did they call that? But anyway, you can see what I'm talking about there, I think. And I guess in this case, you just drive those down into your shaft or your piece of wood and make a handle or something to fling it with. And the same thing with the ones on the right, except those are bigger, more lanceolate. To me, those are leaf shaped, and these are more lance-like or lanceolate type. But they're both stem, so you could drive them down into the whatever you're using to wield it with. And some of these, Mark, some of these things are somewhat similar to stuff you would see later in Europe, that the Romans or the Greeks might have used, but not quite the same, but close.
But I bet you can go to Norway and Denmark and Greater Scandinavia and find those kind of flared tang blades on the right photo.
Yeah,
that say flat stem points, I think.
they do. That's what it says.
There's a lot of swords and long knives, etc., in that part of the world that look just like that.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking too, and that's why while they're not exactly the same, they're very similar to the point where, again, there goes that culture link between northwestern Europe and northeastern North America, where they say they didn't. Some people say they didn't cross, but
Just
Tina says she'd love to go to Scandinavia. Hey, Kay, welcome in. I didn't see you come in. And Diana's in here. I miss Diana. Or maybe she saw Tina. Or not Tina. Ian. I don't see Diana. But anyway.
I'm beginning to think they went to Churchill and the Bears got them.
I know they've been really busy this year. They've been doing a lot of stuff with Alexander on weekends. I know that. I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks either. I need to give him a call. And then we got some more conical sockets. Basically they're just bent rolling a piece of copper around the end of a stick and, making it pointy. I like what Ernest T. Bass might have poked out a possum with.
What's that little girl know about a possum? Oh my!
Now the sawtooth base points over here on the lower right in that page. Now those look to me like it's a split shaft, and then again use sinew or some kind of cordage to lace it up with. That makes sense to me on that.
Think about how much just like joyful horse trailer talking we could have done this week with Mike and Diane.
In fact, I was just showing Brenda last night. They did a commercial where one of those horse trailer companies was showing the fine living quarters they were putting in some of their horse trailers.
It's ridiculous, man. I've been inside them, and I'm like, I don't feel like I should be in here or touching anything.
Yeah, I know. It's
and then the horse is kind of the back, maybe third of it is horse trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a camper. And what are you doing, you varmint? Wolfgang, come here.
Wolfie.
Hi, Penny. You were a good girl this morning. Your people weren't. And I looked, so I noticed that I just turned my back and they were gone.
Yeah.
And I looked outside and the sun wasn't up yet. It was just getting that kind of gray pre-dawn light and sitting out there on a telephone pole or electric pole in the in the alfalfa pasture was a great big old horned owl. And some of the natives thought that the horned owl was a messenger of death.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh no.
A bad sign. Well, did the horned owl fly down in front of you though? Because that's usually
he just sat there and we talked to each other for a little while.
Okay. Maybe that was a good thing. If he'd flown down in front of you, that would have been bad news.
So banner stones, that wild looking thing, looks like something they'd put in a sci-fi movie as a weapon.
Yeah.
They've argued over what those were because they made them out of stone. Most of them are stone.
Well, these happen to be copper. Even though I put banner stone up there because they referred to them as that, but
they're shaped like a banner stone.
Yeah, well,
But most of them are made out of like North Carolina greenstone. They traded that stuff all over. It made really good axes and
celts and such.
Yeah, and the banner stones, they still argue about what they were. Were they Atalanta weights? Were they, the weight for fishing nets? Were they nobody can make up their mind. So
one made like this out of copper would be plenty of things to stick in the mud, so you could really hook a fishing net up one like that. You could lock it down where you wanted it pretty well, but I've never seen anybody actually use one, I don't think, on an atlatl.
There's a couple of videos out there where they're using atlatl weights, but they don't look like, I don't know, they don't, I have one here at the house. They don't look quite, well, they're not flanged out like this.
Yeah.
But whether that's even true, I mean, the one I have, it's just half of it. So it's basically a canoe with no points on the end. And I always wondered if it was a sanding tool for shafts or something, because it's really
Oh,
rough.
that makes sense.
It's
Yeah,
really rough stone.
that would make sense.
Anyway, I don't know.
If this was a weapon, then what it puts me in mind of is a war axe that you would see more in Northern Europe.
Yeah. Or
Again,
they made it because they were living on high times and they just made it because they could.
That's a good point too.
There was probably human beings tended to do that.
That's true. Let
me show you. We're going to make one of these today. What is it? I don't know. I just made it up.
I just made it because I had time to, and I was sitting here and I thought, wow, that looks neat. Well, in a way, for a little while at least, these guys had lots of this. It was readily available. And it was almost like I always think about the Northwestern natives when Lewis and Clark got out there. They talked about how wealthy those natives were, and in the sense that they had leisure time because they had their food source was right there in the ocean and whatever else they ate from the land. And they didn't have to hunt and gather all the time. So they had time to make giant canoes and totems and things like that because they had time to be artistic in a sense. And something like this could be very similar to that.
Well, and I've read some pretty cool articles on even like ancient hunter-gatherers that they only spent about 25% of their time doing their job, if you will, hunting and gathering. And the rest of the time was their own to do with as they would. And it's kind of, they look at some of those like remaining people that live that way, like the Bushmen. And they have a lot of time off, way more than modern humans do. That.
But we're supposed to have leisure time. And then after all that, after a few thousand years of that evolution of copper,
what is an atlatl?
Huh?
Well, Tina asked, "What's an atlatl?"
Oh,
haven't we? We've had to have discussed that many times.
But go ahead.
Hold on just a second.
He's gonna go fetch one.
Yeah.
Let me make him big again if I can. Nope, that's not who I want. I want him. Make him big. There. So an atlatl is a he's going to show you one and he'll explain it better probably than I can. But an atlatl is basically, there you go.
So it's a hand thrower, and it's kind of been sort of hollowed out on this side, and there's a spur
right there.
That happens to be a pronghorn tip.
Yeah.
And it's a piece of Osage orange, and it basically lengthens your arm and gives you more leverage, and you're throwing a dart that can be 8 feet long. And they were amazingly accurate with these things. You can go to YouTube and find all kind of atlatl videos of people throwing them. Anyway,
but it was an early invention of man that allowed them to, before the bow and arrow came along, it allowed them to throw a dart was kind of like a cross between a spear and an arrow. It was longer than arrows we know today and heavier, but not as big as what you might think of as a spear that they might have been using at close quarters. But they could throw it quite a ways and hit with it at quite a ways. They were people who have practiced with them today are really good with them, and they can hit targets, and they hunt with them. They actually did an experiment a few years ago where they actually took some bison with them, and anyway,
they're very effective.
Yeah, very effective. Let me put my other screen back up here.
They thought we were speaking Tennessee again.
Yeah.
So it's spelled weird. It's ATL hyphen ATL.
Yeah.
And some people call them atlatls, and some people call them addles. And
yeah. So after they moved, after about 6,000 years or so, like we started talking, we had kind of touched on this last week. Copper became less useful as a tool or as a weapon, and they started using it more for ornamental purposes, which is what these are. Different styles of pendants and crescents, and I don't know, maybe things to run through their nose or tie around their neck. And what they think now is that they got to the point where it just wasn't. We touched on this last week too. Why would they go back? But they explored this and they did it, but then it became harder to get to copper. They were having to actually dig it out of the ground and mine it more than just pick it up. I mean, at first they were literally just picking it up. I mean, it was just in places laying, and but then it became more difficult, and so it's thought now that it became easier to go back to stone points and stone tools, and copper just became a luxury item, an ornament. It was all bright and shiny and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure they thought it had lots of properties, but they decided it was easier to make a flint nap out of stone axe. What's Ian doing over here? Mission accomplished. Learn something.
They've confused me, and we confused them, and now I'm confused.
It me or them?
I am confused. They are confusing me.
Well, I think what the mission accomplished is Ian said he learned something, trying to learn something every week. So
whether you need to or not.
Yeah, you just don't know it yet. That's the thing about learning. You don't know you need to know it till you know it.
Sometime you might be at some fancy cocktail party and you get to have a discussion about atlatls.
It might even win you a drink. You throw that out there and somebody says, "Oh, you're making that up." And you whip out your phone and you look up atlatl and you show it to them right there, and they, drinks are on them the rest of the night. So here's another thing they were doing with it.
And we wandered off of our subject with the atlatl, although they were using this for atlatl dart points. So,
yeah. So we didn't really wander that far. They also made, again, once they started using it, they started spending more time making ornamental things out of it, like beads. Before they had glass beads and bone hair pipes, things like that to trade for, they were making it out of copper.
What?
Copper bracelets, copper pendants.
We're leaving. Ready, Caitlin?
Donna?
Yeah, they're getting ready to head into town and grab the oldest granddaughter.
Ah. So anyway, so now we're going to move out of that weaponized part of copper and talk a little bit more about and some of these pictures you've seen when I get to them. This was another from last week. I forgot to move this one, but this was also from one of the local museums in Minnesota or Wisconsin. I can't remember which one this is from, but it shows the same kind of points found in a different area. And these are some of the cold hammered swords and things that they found in other places. And some of these are new made, but they're replicas of the originals. Copper's pretty soft to work as a metal goes, but it would still take some hammering to make something like that out of a piece of copper that thick.
Well, it looks like they ground it too.
It does.
Which I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
If you take a copper penny and scrape it over some sandstone.
Well, again, it wears down pretty quick. And this is just more. I think these are. I don't know. I thought these were original, but they might not be.
Look at the work into that pot. Holy.
I know. Look at that, the engraving and stuff on that. Actually, I thought this hand axe over here is quite intricate too. When you realize that the shaft and everything's made, it's all one piece, or at least it looks like it is to me.
Little mallets and
yeah,
that's cool.
Blades for knives, and I don't know what these are. Could be cups or could be.
This looks like sheeting. They got rolled up to pack wherever.
Yeah, to use when they need it. And more of the same. This is out of a collection. I just can't remember whose it was. Well, let me see if I wrote that down. Hang on just a moment. I might have. Let me back up one. Yeah, this was this stuff is labeled as Lake Superior First Nations made copper tools at least 2,000 years before the pyramids. And this is the Ontario Archaeological Society and their 2024 annual symposium.
That engraving is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, that's not easy.
There's quoting some guy here at this symposium who said, "I love prehistoric copper, the people that created it, the fact that not enough people know about it, and it's so hugely important. That's what started the first metalworking in North America, and people aren't aware of it. I didn't know about it. I mean, I knew there was copper found in things like mounds and stuff, but I didn't realize it had developed to the point that it did." And that's an arrowhead point, or I just realized that's on a barbed, like a whalebone shaft or something. They might have been making their own garpin darts, Mark.
That's exactly what that's for. For a big old blueback.
Big old bluebacks. And they found, and this one was found. Here's another thing we talk about them trading. This was found in the Yukon area. That's quite a ways from the Great Lakes. And there's another more magnified example of, a hafted or a ferruled point. You can see how it's was wrapped around something. And I think this is more Milwaukee Museum stuff here. And I'm going to get into something else just here in a second. Yeah. So this is the kind of copper, some of the copper things that were found in the, and we've talked about this a long time ago, but they found some of this stuff in the Mississippian culture mounds in the South, in the southeastern United States. And this copper most likely came from the Great Lakes and was traded south for other things. Maybe some of that greenstone or that Mark talked about earlier. Maybe they traded it for, I don't know, could have been all kinds of things that they
Maize.
What?
Traded it for maize.
Yeah, maize. Yeah, very well could have.
Tell me those people on the Mississippi all the way up to Cahokia. They're in southern Illinois.
Oh, that's true. They were up that
Tell
far.
me they weren't linked tightly with either Aztecs or Mayans from Mexico.
Yeah, I think there's. I mean, you'd think by looking at
And
their art,
they have the same deities carved out in their work
and their language, such as we know it, the carvings and things they did is very similar to like the Mayan culture, the stuff that they carved, or petroglyphs or hieroglyphs that they carved into the pyramids down there, which is also very similar to some of the mounds that were formed in the southeastern U.S. by these groups.
they played the same kind of ball games. They
probably both like football.
And it might have been like early global warming allowed that to happen.
Well, it could be. Well, in a sense, yeah, maybe.
Cahokia had 30,000 inhabitants that lived
some of those towns were huge.
That lived in the town. And then people were, living in the hinterlands, bringing stuff to trade, and it was amazing before we got over here and mucked it all up.
That lower piece at the bottom is one of the ways that they found copper around the Great Lakes. That's the kind of thing they might have picked up in a pile of gravel left over by the receding glaciers. And these are just some more solar deities, or well, at least that's what we think they are today. Again, they were worn in the hair, and their decoration, their art, they're not, oh, and that guy's carrying a head in his hand. I just noticed that.
Yeah, look at the Mayans. All their art has dudes carrying somebody's head.
They were kind of big on that, chopping off their head stuff and cutting out their hearts. Oh, don't tell me I'm already there. Oh no, I hit the end and I missed something. Okay, I've got to find something here. I've misplaced something. Let me back up and see if I can find it. Okay, let me shut this, and I will figure out what I did with it so I can at least talk about it. Give me a moment here to refresh my memory.
Your refresher's getting smaller.
It is, isn't it? It's not as effective as it used to be. I'm not live here. No wonder I'm not even seeing the right things. Oh, shoot.
What do you mean you're not live?
Well, never mind. On my screen, I had paused, accidentally paused something. I'm going to have to, it's going to take me a minute here, but I had something else I thought was really interesting.
So did you find photos of what they call the Rogan plates that they found at Cahokia?
I think I've got those somewhere in my notes from before.
Man, are they fancy.
I'll pull them up right now if I can find them.
There's Miss Kay. They went to Mexico. They saw something they thought was a planter, but it was something they used to put hearts in.
Quite possibly true.
You could still see red marks inside.
Oh my. I think this is the plate. Let me back up here. I went to the Smithsonian. This may be the plate you're talking about. That looks like the one I just had. Yeah, no, there's the Rogan plate. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, wrong hat. Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Tell you, Rocky. Well, this is part of that other, but this is part of the Rogan plate here. Plate number 1.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
And that guy's got a head in his hand.
He's got a head in his hand.
But look at that for a minute. That's very similar to that other image. I mean, the same kind of character. He's even got similar.
Yeah, so they have a name for that guy, the Hawks Man or something they call him.
They're calling it the Falcon Dancer here.
The Falcon Dancer.
Let's see if they've got another. This is plate number 1. Let me see if they've got plate number. There's plate number 2. Same guy. I don't.
Can you enlarge that at all?
Let me see.
No.
No, that's as big as I can get that.
But it's the same dude carrying a different head.
Different head, some differences, but same guy. Let me see if there's a third one. There's plate number 3. I can't make it any bigger either, I don't think.
You don't have a head.
No, I can't. No, you don't have a head. Well, actually, this is not the same character. Ipity or whatever. Spirit critter.
Excuse me.
I don't know if there's another one or not. Oops. I got ahead of myself. There we go. That's 3. And I had those in the other picture there a minute ago. There's another one. That's another copper. It says it's a motif. I don't know what that's supposed to represent, but. And there's another one. They call this one the solar OG deity. Now he's got a head in his hand too. These guys are about to be heading now. Let there be no doubt about that. And we're back to plate number 1. Hang on just a minute. Let me go back. There was something. Oh, I know what it was. Copper smelting was not something that most of these natives did. And it turns out that a lot of the knowledge about smelting came from South America. And one of the, I don't remember which conquistador it was, but one of the conquistadors who came over and conquered, I don't know, the Aztecs or the Incans.
That was Cortez. I think Pizarro conquered the Inca.
Well, one of them actually got some of the natives, I'm sure by hook or by crook, I doubt they did it willingly, to teach them how to cast bronze, because they had copper, but the Spaniards didn't bring the knowledge with them to the New World, and they wanted to build cannon to fight to help them conquer the natives. And so they learned how to smelt and make an alloy of bronze out of tin and copper to cast cannons that they used to fight the natives with. And they learned that after they got here to the New World from
the people that
came up out of South America. Do what?
As soon as they got their cannon cast, they turned the barrels around and pointed the other way, and thanks for the knowledge.
Yeah, here, duck. And I had never read that before, so I don't.
And Michelle says she used to go smelting with her dad when they're all wiggling on the beach.
Different kind of smelting. Well, I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm assuming that smelting are the smelts that swim up on the beach or that are out in the ocean.
Yeah, when the smelt are breeding and laying their eggs and in the low tide.
What's the other fish? Michelle, did you ever go? Maybe you've done this too. Brenda's mom used to talk about this, and her dad did it a few times. Maybe it was smelt. Is it smelt that come up on the beach at certain high tides and burrow into the sand and lay their eggs, I guess? And
yep, that's smelt.
Her dad used to talk about doing that.
California, the whole coast of California,
is
like big time smelt country.
Oh, she's cooking and listening at the same time. Oh, she's making bacon and pancakes. Woohoo! I'm coming over. We're all coming over for breakfast.
My belly's sitting here growling at me. I was out hunting dogs and didn't get to eat my breakfast.
I'm not going to tell you what I had.
You're not going to what? You ate
I'm not going to tell you. I actually ate this morning. I had biscuits and gravy and sausage.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Now, mind you, it was warmed up from last night because that's what we had for dinner. But
I'll probably just have a couple ketchup packets.
A couple of ketchup packets.
Maybe some leftover horsey sauce from Arby's.
Well, you know what Ronald Reagan said back in the 80s? He said that's a vegetable, isn't it? Ketchup.
It is.
Now John's heating up some clams. He has that ketchup packets in water like tomato soup. Who did I see do that routine one time? I think it was Lucille Ball went into a diner and asked for hot water and made tomato soup out of ketchup packets. And a cup of hot water. Well, John, when did you go clamming? I mean, the last few days, I'm going to assume. So anyway, the Spaniards came over here and learned how to cast bronze because they didn't bring that. Maybe they just didn't know how. Maybe nobody came with them, on the ship that came here. Maybe they just didn't have anybody that understood how to do it. But the natives taught them how. Well, I bet they regretted that too.
Yeah, but they've been casting bronze, smelting bronze way before those guys went to Central and South America.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking too.
So
but
they just didn't have a technician aboard that knew how to do it.
That's probably it. But that's something the copper complex, they didn't really learn to smelt because they were just using pure ore. They never did any blending and alloys, and that's why they never got to the Bronze Age, if you will, in that regard. But they were more advanced in copper work than Europe was, or before Europe was. But they never got to that casting and alloy making stage of things that we know of. John must be eating clams, not listening. I went to somebody's house, a guy that had I believe it was the friend of mine where we had our dark room for a while in high school in his house, and they had his mom opened up a can. I think that's where it was at. It was either his or Kevin's. They opened up a can of smoked clams, and man, those things were good. And I ate too many of them, and then I hadn't wanted any since then. Really, it didn't make me sick. It just I ate, as we used to say, got foundered on them. Oh my. Here's John's clams that he heated up.
Oh my.
Now, John, what would you call those? What are those? I mean, is that almost kind of like an oyster Rockefeller or something? I've never had those either, but I don't think I've ever had clams fixed this way. I think I've heard you talk about it. Clams Casino.
Clams Casino.
He said he made them on Monday.
Wow.
So what are those about egg size, John? Approximately. I mean, they look like a plate full of deviled eggs to me. I mean, size wise.
Oh, fancy.
Ain't nothing short about John now.
Then you started talking about oysters, and now I'm really hungry.
You'll have to order you some from Amazon.
Never had one in any form that I didn't like, including mountain.
I can't say to that one. I don't think I've ever had a mountain oyster that I'm aware of.
Sheep fries are good.
Same difference. Maybe made different. I don't know.
No,
depends on where you're from.
Same exact.
Somebody you worked with though used to do that. Didn't you tell me? Was that Was that in New Mexico or was that there in Wyoming? That
For
they
what?
did the sheep. Somebody you worked with or something did.
Oh yeah, my buddy Truman Julian, his youngest grandson, met me at the door one day, and he goes, "Oh, it's great to see you, Mark. We're fixing to have my favorite meal ever." And I'm like, so I walk in the house, and they're like, "Come in here and eat with us." And they had this great big, I don't know what you'd call is terrine a word? Is
Yeah.
it like a big old dish, great big
Yeah.
dish, just heaped up with sheep fries? And that was it.
That was it. That was the whole meal, huh?
Yeah, it was all for Coulter. It was his birthday, and he wanted sheep fries. So
Now, were those fried up whole or were they sliced up?
pretty much whole. They're small. They're lamb fries, I guess would be a better term for them.
Yeah. There were some guys that worked at that slaughterhouse I worked at one year, and they would get, every once in a while, they'd get a bull through there,
Yeah,
which
those
wasn't that
you
common.
got to slice.
Yeah, and they're about this big.
Yeah.
And that's what one of the guys said, "How do you fix those?" And he said, "Oh, you take them and you slice them out real thin. And then, of course, you roll them in flour or whatever they did to
And
them.
fry them.
And fry them." Yeah. Ian says terrine. I believe that's what we were talking about. Ian, are you asking, or are you once again surprised at our intellectual reservoir of things we know? Ouch, John, that's what he do. We raked up about 225 between two of us. Oh, the water temps. Yeah, 38-degree water will
Suck it right out of you.
Yes, it will.
I've been running a few muskrat traps, and we're on that. Maybe it'll be froze over river, maybe not. And I don't know what the water temp is. It's cold. And I got on like insulated waders, and I can feel it like cold.
He said, just making sure Ian said he's just making sure he understands, but always amazed by our intellect. And we got some property we'd sell you too, Ian. If you believe that. The
We're well read. We're well read.
Well read. And some people would say redneck at one time or another, I'm sure, but
yeah, but that's a genetic thing we can't help.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that cold 38-degree water will can put you down. Well, thank you, Tina. Ian said he always wanted oceanfront property in Arizona. And you're still waiting on California to fall off, aren't you?
Yeah, Yuma will be the spot.
Yeah, someday. Oh, I'm sure I had something else I popped in my head. Popped right back out again. What time is it? Oh, it's 11:48. Redneck exterior with an Ivy League interior.
They wouldn't have let us through the door.
Nah, probably not. Probably
We'd have
not.
said one thing, and then they were like,
And
nope.
that would have been the end of it. Oh, boys, you wrong school. I was looking for something. I tell you, I had a conversation with somebody recently about, I don't know if you knew this or not, actually, but I had an aunt that passed away last week.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Um,
Your mom's
she
sister?
lived, my dad's brother's wife.
Oh,
And so I have one more. I have one more left out of that whole family, that whole generation of family. And that's it. Then it's down to us, the grandchildren.
then you become that.
And then we become that. But I have a cousin that bounced around a little bit. I guess doing church work at different places, and he lived in northern Indiana for a while. He used to go up into Michigan and hunt. Him and his dad both. His dad was always a bird hunter. Always had Brittany Spaniels. I think it was Brittany's. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for a grouse dog. He liked to hunt grouse.
After the king of game birds.
Yeah. And Robert and I were talking about some of that. I asked him if he still did any hunting or anything. I wasn't sure if he did or not. And we got talking about squirrels. And he lived in Missouri. And that's all they had were fox squirrels in that neck of the woods. And then they lived in, I guess when he was in Michigan, I guess they had some, or Indiana, I guess they had fox squirrels up there. But they also had the black grays. And he was talking about he went for a while and that was the only thing he ever shot. He had some old guy that lived near him that just loved squirrel gravy and squirrels. But he didn't hunt anymore. He got where he couldn't get around and he was not hunting. So Robert would always take him squirrels. If he got any, he'd take them. And he said he just loved it when he brought him fox squirrels because there was like twice as much meat. You know? It was a whole lot more meat. I didn't know he had ever done much squirrel hunting. And we were talking about granddads because that's where we all learned how to hunt. And all of us in that family at the Thanksgiving rabbit hunts and the Christmas weekend rabbit hunts and squirrel hunts. Well, squirrel hunts were Labor Day. We always went down to Granddad's for Labor Day weekend and hunted squirrels. And then we went rabbit hunting on his place too. I did that up here, my mom's family some too, but not as much. Oh, Michelle said, "Don't be oohing about a squirrel."
I've eaten many times my body weight.
I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna start trying to practice. I'm gonna go with next year when we go to the squirrel cook-off, buddy. I'm gonna be prepared. Oh shoot! What she made me think of something. Now I forgot what I was getting ready to say. Oh shoot! Oh.
Your member's broken this morning, buddy.
It is. It's not working very well this morning. It had something to do with squirrels, though.
Probably had something to do with staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching.
That's possible. watching bull riding and such. They wouldn't understand what you were saying without that northeastern speech. Yeah, they might struggle. I got news for you. People struggle even here around here sometimes. And
you get off the beaten path, then you get back to where all of us used to talk.
Well, she threw me off with that talking bad about squirrels. I know what I was going to tell you.
You can't find it at the grocery store. That's right.
You can't do that around. You can't. No, I'm not aware of anywhere in this country where you can buy a squirrel. Now you can in the UK. The aunt that passed away was the one that worked at Davy Crockett state park for years and years and years down there on the river. And their daughters went to Crockett. My first oldest cousin, her oldest daughter, was a year younger than me, and her second daughter was my brother's age, so they would have been a little bit older than you. And then my cousin Robert, I believe they went to Boone, and he's the same age as Tommy, my brother. It seemed like it ran in strings. When one got pregnant, they all got pregnant. I don't know if it was the water or what it was. Not like I can find it. Can you find rabbit out there, Michelle? Just out of curiosity. I mean, you can't really find rabbit around here. Maybe in there might be a few grocery stores where you can get rabbit, but you don't see rabbit much here. Not, at least I don't. Maybe it's out there, but now I understand if you go to the Northeast, you can see they do sell a lot more rabbit in stores and things. There's more farms up there that raise it, I guess. Raise them.
Conies.
Conies?
Well, they always change the name of stuff.
Oh,
so sure. You don't think you're eating redneck food.
Good point.
In John's country and all up through there, muskrat was prized, and they called it marsh rabbit.
Marsh rabbit, yeah. I guess it still is on menus up there in some parts of the country
I would assume so.
At higher end restaurants. Kay says rabbit is only in the freezer section around, and that'd be South Carolina.
Huh.
I may have to look in the freezer section, Kay, and see if we've got it. I don't think I've ever seen it here. There was a grocery store, and it might have been when I lived in Nashville, that you can get rabbit. And then there was a place in Knoxville called Fresh Market who tended to have pretty good meats and seafood, and they may have had it, but I don't think I've ever seen it in a regular grocery store around here anywhere. The only time I ever knew where you could get a rabbit was out in somebody's field out back, and I have skinned a few of them. Anyway,
you barely even need a knife to skin a rabbit.
No, yeah, true. You just got to make a slit in the back and pull it. Well, that's how we did it anyway.
Well, you can tear that with your hand. I always wondered how they survived in briar patches and things.
Their skin does tear pretty easy.
How do you even live where you live?
With such delicate hide.
You can't do that to a squirrel. You pull all day.
Oh, I saw, speaking of that, I saw something for sale the other day on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a squirrel skinning tool.
And I've seen those.
This one was like plexiglass and had notches cut in it, and then a bigger notch in the middle you hook the head in, and you basically hook their feet in it and pull the hide down, then flip it over and pull the hide off that way. And it's just another way. I get, it's a good way to hold the squirrel while you were skinning it, I guess. I'd never seen that before. Somebody had them for sale, to which I, guffawed a little bit and said, "Oh, that's not what that is." But sure enough, that's what it was. I thought they were just making up something.
Yeah, I guess there's they do some trade show stuff associated with the cook-off, and there's a guy there that sells various gadgets, and sundries for cleaning squirrels.
Well, they bring in a lot of squirrels to that cook-off, fresh squirrels brought in and delivered by the local hunters, I guess, when they do that cook-off, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, all of them are. They're like, I hope
somebody's
we
got
got squirrels this year.
Oh, me. See, we managed to work squirrels in there after all. Michelle said she hoped they weren't used. You mean used squirrels? They were all used up. I had a lot of noisy cars come by today for some reason. I had to step out for a second. We're talking eating bunnies and tree rats. Well, just for a moment there, John. I can't remember how the topic came up, but I do know how it came up. Do I? Well, we were also talking about a squirrel skinning device I'd seen for sale on YouTube Marketplace. I'd never seen one before. But I was asking Michelle if they had rabbits out west in the groceries. And she said she couldn't buy squirrels. And which I don't know if you can buy squirrel anywhere in this country in the market. But you can buy rabbit in some places. Oh, use squirrel skinners. Oh, well, preferably new ones. But I saw an aluminum one and I saw plexiglass ones. I'm sure somebody's figured out a way to make them on 3D printer by now. They make everything else that way. I see all manners of things made on 3D printers these days. Rare and hard to find gun parts, model train parts. If it's made out of plastic, somebody can make it on a 3D printer.
It's like juju magic.
It is. Have you ever seen one of those giant? It's kind of like a giant 3D printer, but it uses concrete and they build houses with them.
No.
Pretty fascinating.
I never even seen a regular one, so
it's pretty neat the way those houses go together. They're
kind of like, have you seen a shrimp boat? No, but I've seen a real big boat.
Oh, now we're going to talk about something else entirely. It wouldn't be Saturday Morning Shine without some squirrel chat. That's right, Tina. That is absolutely a fact. Oh, guys, I guess it's about time to round this thing up. Oh, I'm running out of steam and not enough sleep, I guess. Probably. I may have to curl up over here on the couch and take a nap.
That sounds like a lovely idea.
What am I seeing? Oh, on my desk, I'm seeing behind me. Oh, I think I might do that.
I had the same notion, and then I just got a call from my wife saying that the in-laws are coming. So,
oh boy!
And my wife's not home, so
they're just coming to see you.
They're coming to get free eggs, is what they're doing.
Ah, I see. I think we're about out of our
Army-Navy game on at 3.
What?
Army-Navy
game at 3. I knew it was sometime this afternoon.
1 o'clock my time.
Go Army, beat Navy.
Nah.
Michelle said, I saw them building this tall building near our house, and it looked like sections of rooms that looked like they were stacking. Yeah, was it?
The in-laws are coming. The in-laws, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea.
So throw the eggs at them and go take your nap. Tina said. There'll be somebody riding ahead saying, the in-laws are coming, the in-laws are coming.
Our entire extended family has not bought a single egg in years now.
Or nor much chicken feed.
Now, we got one son-in-law that he's pretty
buying
good.
chicken feed.
He's pretty good at remembering.
Oh, that's good.
Or he gives me elk steaks or something, and
well, that's a good swap.
Good trade.
So, how many chickens have you managed to get through? Did you manage to get through the summer with? You reckon?
Oh, we generally are running about 35 head. I wish I had twice the chicken house space and outside run. They would be. I mean, I have a big coop, actually 2 coops and a big run, but
yeah,
they'd be happier with a little more room, I think. Chickens are funny. You can't have bird dog. You can't turn your chickens out to free graze like in the summertime when you got kids and grandkids that don't understand what "don't let the dogs outside" means. That part of the language has been lost on them.
Yeah. Which dogs are the worst?
I don't have a single grandkid that can cut a dog off.
And here they're supposed to be ranch kids or country kids.
I'm like, you're one of these days you're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
And they all have them.
Somebody else is doing the dog wrangling.
Yeah.
I saw
it, and Tina, you're correct. It is a skill. And you got to be, you can't be like, oh, don't go out the door.
No, it don't work.
Doesn't work. I don't care if the dog's this long or 120 pounder.
Have you seen that?
But I got one border collie and one bird dog that if a chicken's loose, I got to get to the chicken quick. Or I get to butcher a chicken, one or the other.
Is that Jake?
Who?
Is it not Jake?
Hank.
Hank. Is that Hank or is that?
Yeah, it's Hank. And he just trying to bring him back.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets a little mouthy and the chicken just like goes into shock and it's just like Gigi is supposed to hunt birds, but she's supposed to point them
and not kill them. Bye, Michelle. Thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of your day with your house full of kids.
Well,
I didn't catch if that was a Boy Scout.
I'm getting ready to take off too.
Well, I
got to get the spyglass out and see when they're coming.
So you can see them before they get there.
Well, I got long driveways. I can see them a half mile away. So, like, oh.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you sometime this week.
All right, brother man. I'll probably talk to you sooner than later.
I hope so.
Reference NFR. So.
Yep. And tonight's the night. So.
All right, pal.
All right. You take care of yourself. Everybody else, thanks for being here, guys. Love y'all for making it. And hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And John, don't eat too many clams and crabs and not crabs. You don't have any crabs, oysters and such as that. Everybody else, Tina, be careful chasing them hounds. And that'll probably be it for today. Let's see, we got 2 weeks till Christmas. Hang on, just one thought here. Now Christmas is on Thursday. I'll probably do a show that week. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. See you next week.